Okay, we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of In the Loop Live. My name's Krissi. I'm with Positively Osceola, and today I have the very special honor of chatting with three women who are celebrating Women's History Month and all of the stuff that goes into celebrating women and how far we've come. So we have some very important people on, and I'm so excited for you to meet them. First of all, we have Marilyn Cortez-Lovato from Osceola Arts. We've got Suzanne Benton from the Women's Caucus for the Arts Florida chapter, the founder. We have Judith Seagal, also from Women's Caucus for the Art Florida chapter. Lots and lots of important things that are going on in our history, and they want to share that with you, and I'm so excited to be a part of it too. So I'm going to play the video, we'll make it official, and we'll get them rocking and rolling, and I'm so excited for y'all to meet them. All right, y'all, let's get going, play the video, here we go. All right, ladies, hello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. How's everybody doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having us tonight, Krissi. We really are excited to talk about what's going on.
Yay! Yeah, I'm so excited to have you all. And Suzanne, Judith, thank you so much for hopping on. I know as artists and as, you know, such big names in women's history, this is a really important month for you. And so I'm excited that you get to share that with us, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything. First, Marilyn, tell us about the exhibit that's going on. I really think this is awesome. So tell me all about it.
Well, first, I want to thank Judith Seagal and Suzanne Benton, who represent and are founders of Women Caucus Florida, for the Art Florida, and to Judith, who brought this wonderful exhibit to our Kissimmee, city of Kissimmee, at Kissimmee City Hall. It is called Women Who Work. It is on all 5 floors. It's an exhibit of portraits of basically titled Women Who Work. It commemorates and celebrates the unsung woman. We honor women who live and work behind the scenes. The portraits, a universal representation, remind us of whose efforts are rarely recognized for their true importance. The portrait subjects are every woman, everywhere, whose contributions to American life are often diminished within our culture. Portrait subjects are not ranked by status, rather they hang side by side in sisterhood based on aesthetics, noting that each is part of the whole, contributors to well-being. So you can access these wonderful individual and unique portraits on all 5 floors. I believe there's 36 total of these wonderful paintings. This is through, facilitated by Osceola Arts through Art in Public Places at Kissimmee City Hall in downtown Kissimmee. So again, I want to applaud and present and introduce Suzanne Benton, who is the founder of this project of Women Who Work. And Suzanne Benton is an internationally recognized printmaker, sculptor, and performance artist who creates artworks drawn from myth, history, literature, and legend. Her signature monoprints speak of a cultural outreach spanning 31 countries, honored with numerous artist residencies and grants such as the Fulbright in India and Artist in Residency at Harvard University. Suzanne Benton has exhibited in 150 solo shows. Her work is collected worldwide. She is and has been listed in various who's who's in America of American women and of American artists. She presently teaches an art workshop at the Moran Center for the Arts in St. Petersburg, Florida. I also want to welcome Judith Seagal, who is also an artist. She is also founder of the Women Caucus for the Arts Florida chapter. And she, of course, is an artist, and she is in Altamont Springs right now. And she lives there, and she has been painting since 1972, she was in northern Italy. She continues her studies at Cal State Long Beach, and she has lived in Mexico, San Miguel, studying art there and practicing art. Today, she represents here we go. Relocating to Orlando in 1993, Judith started the Women's Caucus for the Art Florida chapter in 1994. So let them speak for themselves, because I could keep chattering about both of these wonderful, awesome artists, but I would rather let them speak about this project at City Hall that is on display, this wonderful exhibit, as well as Women Caucus for the Arts Florida chapter. So I'll let Suzanne begin.
Thank you very much. Well, actually, I'm the founder of what was the St. Petersburg branch of the chapter of the Women's Caucus for Art Florida. It's only, I think, last year or the year before that our little branch became the actual chapter. And we have offices and we're functioning just fine. I decided to start originally that branch. I've been an activist forever, it seems. I always say I'm a day one feminist before Gloria Steinem. And also that I had joined the Women's Caucus for Art as soon as it existed, but primarily in the New York chapter and then Connecticut. So I've been coming down to Florida since right after 9/11 and became very embedded in the city, especially here in St. Petersburg, especially by being a founder and organizer of the 217 Women's March. We had 25,000 people, which was certainly unprecedented. And the joy and pleasure of having such a huge impact certainly made an impact on me, making me realize that instead of kind of at the stage of fading away, I still had leadership qualities. So coming down, I certainly realized that there are so many women artists in this city, and some absolutely stellar ones. And yet I didn't have a feeling that there was a women artist community. And my experience is such that it's a very enriching experience to be connected, to be making friends, to collaborate with other women artists on all levels where we inspire each other. I don't think it matters what level, just like, when we did the portraits, we didn't choose people only because, they had stellar histories. We chose people because they gave back to the community and they were in the community, and we wanted as broad or outreach as possible. And it's the same thing in the Women's Caucus for Art. I mean, I have experienced personally enormous enrichment and also support. I actually got down to Florida because of a little notice in the Connecticut newsletter about what was down here. So, that in of itself. So the reason I decided to ally with the national chapter is because I think, first of all, I have enormous respect for the Women's Caucus for Art. But I felt that there are so many opportunities for growth for artists to be allied with it, and that it's a more important organization if it's part of a national organization. So the wonderful thing is that very soon I contacted National. Margot Hobbs was enormously helpful, and she steered me to Judith. And, Judith was just an angel of information and accepted my idea. I mean, at that time, I didn't want to be president or have offices certainly took minutes. And we certainly had agendas, but I didn't want that, at least at that point. And so we became the branch. But as the branch, you see, we immediately, when it's right livelihood, things just fall in front of you. So, I met someone from the board on the Museum of Fine Arts in St. Petersburg, and little conversation, and she allowed us to have our meetings there. Well, having meetings at the museum is a wonderful way to gather members.
Right.
And also the Morian has been very, very supportive. In fact, they're connected with the Chihuly Museum here. And on April 3rd, we're having our member general meeting in the garden of the Chihuly Museum.
Lovely.
So, and that's one of the wonderful things about St. Petersburg, is that there really is support for the arts. And there's also recognition. I will have to tell you that when I got notice that I got the ACLU Civil Liberties Award for the march on an email, I burst into tears, because we women do everything and we never get recognition. But Florida is a state that gives recognition.
Yes.
So, it's really wonderful. And, recognition brings growth. And so when we recognize the women artists and we come up with these ideas that stimulate them, they're growing as artists, they're making friends. And of course, we're having this incredible outreach. Now, I knew right away, first of all, it was the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. So that's pretty important.
Yes.
So we started in 2019, and I knew we needed an important project to bring people together, but also I felt it had to be a gift. And so the artists, there are 36 portraits. The artists bought their panels. They donated their time to do the portraits. We're gifting this somewhere in Florida. We have had so many shows. I'm going to read the list of shows, which I think is another hurrah for the value of having this kind of an organization. Immediately, November, December 2020, we showed at Eckerd College. So, to get that notice and appreciation was great. Then the Dunedin Fine Arts Center in December of 2020. The Clearwater Library, January 2021. Castleberry Art House, August 2021. Oldsmar City Hall, September, October 2021. Kissimmee, here we are, March 2022. And we have another show in September at the Catherine Hickman Theater in Gulfport.
Wow.
So I felt that actually at one of our first meetings, we went around the room asking people how they envisioned this chapter. And one of the women talked about a woman somewhere in America in a small town who rented a store with a big window and proceeded to do portraits of her townspeople. She ended up with 200 portraits. She had a show, I think, at the Smithsonian. There's a beautiful book. I found that so inspiring that I presented the idea of, initially we thought to do it in the workers at City Hall, but as reality, we decided, the group decided, because by that time I was in Connecticut for the summer, and the group decided that they would do women in the city itself. And so it fortunately, everyone had done their portrait before the pandemic.
Wow.
I mean, that was kind of like a miracle, because, it's been such a hard time. And in this hard time, look at what we've already done.
Right.
So it's completely marvelous. And for some reason, I have been coming up with ideas for this group. So the portrait project is our first, and look how successful it is. And one thing that wasn't mentioned, I don't know if it's in the Kissimmee show, but we have these little circles. If you tap on them, you'll hear the artists talk about their experience with the. It's just a great thing, and I have to say that when I went back to Ridgefield, Connecticut, where I've had a house for 55 years and raised my children there, I brought that project to the Ridgefield Town Hall, and it was the same thing. We did 22 portraits, and the artist gave, and it's now a permanent installation in the Ridgefield Town Hall. So we're looking for a permanent place where people can see it and appreciate it. So all you out there, let us know of possible places, because we're ready after we have the Catherine Hickman show to donate it. So, I mean, this was a tremendous giving on the part of the artists. So with that in mind, after President Biden, actually before he was elected, but as things were moving along and the pandemic looked like it was fading, but unfortunately it didn't, I had the idea of us doing healing devices, because as a nation and individuals, we've been through a lot, and obviously we're still going through it, is that we need healing. And art is a wonderful source of healing. So we've already been showing there. We showed at the Nielsen Gallery at Eckerd, which is their prime gallery. We're currently showing at Palm Harbor Library in Palm Harbor through April, and we'll be at the Carrollville Cultural Center in June, from June to August this year. But now we are on our third year, and we have yet another project, and also bearing in mind the world that we live in, and it's black and white. And, you know, it's as broad as you might think of it. And it's also on the same size panel, so that when it's hung with all the diverse arts, it'll look like a beautiful exhibit. So I think that was an important reason that the portrait projects they're all 12 by 10, and I don't think they make that size anymore. So one artist at the very end, she actually had her panel created by a carpenter, so that it would fit in. And in Ridgefield, they're put together as one unit. And so there's that possibility, because there are quite a number. It could be, you know, 6 across and down to be on a single wall. I'm so delighted that you're showing them while I'm speaking, because they are incredibly beautiful. Now I'm looking to see if there's anything else. We became a chapter, our little branch, because we had so many members. We really were the functioning chapter. And the woman who had then been the president resigned, and Judith, I mean, she didn't give me any choice. So I initially I was president for a year. And now, since, you know, it's a wonderful thing to found something and organize it, but it starts getting complicated, and obviously other people have to take a role. So at this point in time, I'm sorry Rebecca can't join me on this, but Rebecca Skelton is is a co-president with me, and she's taking more of a role as the weeks and months go by. So I think I have covered everything. I would like to mention Harriet Godboll. First of all, I want to mention Jade Zimmerman. When we first started, I met Jade at the Morian Art Center. They have a life drawing class, and I invited her. And she's very young, in her early 20s. And she became my right-hand person, because she took over the minutes, the emails, the treasury. She's right now in California getting a master's degree in microbiology. And obviously we needed other people. And Harriet Godboll has taken on a lot. And Ann Martin is now our treasurer, and Esther All is our membership chair. So we are a functioning organization, and it's a wonderful thing to have an idea and to have it come to life.
I wanted to also mention, of course, there is a mission. The mission of the Women's Caucus for the Arts is to create community through art, in education, and social activism. They're committed to recognizing the contribution of women in the arts, providing women with leadership opportunities and professional development, expanding networking and exhibition opportunities for women, supporting local, national, and global art activism, and advocating for equity in the arts for all. The WCA is a networking organization for women in the arts. And with that said, I do want to introduce Judith and have her explain a little bit about her experience as also a big person, that somebody who is actually organizing and reaching out to communities like ours in Kissimmee. And I'll talk a little bit about your experience as part of the Florida chapter of Women Caucus for the Arts, Judith.
Okay. I originally joined the Women's Caucus in 1987 when I became a full-time artist. I was a member of the Miami chapter, and I moved to Orlando in 94, at the end of 93, saw something was missing. I wanted something more than, and all I knew was the Women's Caucus. So we had a meeting at my home. I invited about a dozen women attended, and we decided, yes, this was needed in the community. So our chapter was born, and I was president the first 7 years. And after that, Karen Karasik took over the presidency, and we both stepped on the national board at that point. Once I attended a national conference in 1999. And we actually, yes, I was on the national board for 10 years, and other people took over my position of Southeast VP at that time. And 2 or 3 years ago, I saw that there was no one doing as in that position of Southeast VP. So I said, oh my gosh, the position can't be open. And so I stepped in until someone else takes it over, basically. So, and Debbie Raguso Slowey, at that, she actually, we had an exhibit here. We were in sleep mode for a few years, and we are now, thanks to Suzanne, we are alive and very much happening. But we had an exhibit a couple of years or 2 years earlier called Legacies at Castleberry City Hall at the Art House. And we were going Legacies because we were going to, actually it was at the City Hall as well. We were going to close the chapter, and I wanted it to be our last exhibit. We invited all the past members, and it was an amazing show. So amazing that Debbie Raguso Slowey said, no, you can't close the chapter. I'll be president. I said, okay. And she was president until Suzanne called me and said, we want to start the St. Pete branch. And that branch, as she said, has become now the Florida chapter. And we are now thriving, more than thriving. And if this much is being done during COVID, I can't imagine what's going to be done once everything is open again. It's going to be more than incredible. And the meeting is going to be in the Gardens of the Chihuly on April 3rd at 3 o'clock. Anyone is welcome to attend. And April 4th, we're going to be going to the Ringling Museum because Eleanor Merritt, who was founder and president of the Sarasota chapter and president of the Women of Color nationally, and did a registry on the women of color on a national level, is being honored at the Ringling Museum. And she was the first woman of color she was the first person of color to be on their board, actually. And she was in charge of the public arts in Sarasota for many years. So she's been given a show at Ringling, and we'll be going to see her exhibit on the 4th. Anyone can join us for that too. Don't know what time yet. So,
well, anyone who wants to join Women's Caucus for the Arts, they can go to the website, correct?
yes.
And that is, the website is womencaucusforthearts.org, I believe, correct?
It's either national WCA.org or the Florida website is WCAFL.org, or our Facebook page, which is WCA Florida.
And membership is open for women who would like to become a member, right? I think it's a wonderful opportunity.
Anyone who either supports the arts is, any professional in the arts, in any realm of the arts, whether it's a gallery owner, curator, you don't have to be an artist.
All right. That's wonderful. And again, I want to thank you both for being a part of this conversation. I think it's very important to celebrate women artists, and this exhibit at City Hall does a wonderful job. There's information panels under each art piece that talks about the person in the portrait, and I believe the artist as well.
Wow.
I would just like to say one more thing, which is the quality of the artists that we have, especially the activists. For example, how fortunate we are that Betsy Lester, who installs shows in addition to being a magnificent artist, has given so much time to installing our shows, and obviously not Kissimmee because you did it yourselves, which is wonderful. I think Judith helped and Andy Martin, but I mean, it was just great. And also Rosemary Prinz, who is a great communicator, and she was really active for a while, getting us a little more social media exposure. So everybody brings their own talent aside from their artistic talent. And it's wonderful to see. It's wonderful to see when people give of their time and, you know, we connect.
Yeah. And the fact that you both, and well, obviously, Marilyn, you and I have talked before several times about art and how important it is for the community and the youth and just the story of like our cities in general, our counties, our world. And to hear from women who have been so involved and I mean, you paved the way for the rest of us. So
Yes.
If you haven't received recognition, please hear it from me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you both so much for sharing this wonderful exhibition with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone have any last minute thoughts that they'd like to share with the viewers?
Well, the exhibit is free and open to the public from, I believe, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Kissimmee City Hall in downtown Kissimmee. You can also find out more information at osceolaarts.org under the Art in Public Places page. And we have also exhibits in the libraries in Osceola County for art in public places. As we speak right now, there's an artist at each library in Osceola County, including City of Kissimmee. We have an exhibition from the Florida Sculptors Guild right now in our main building at Osceola Arts. And we also have a wonderful exhibition called Divinity, an exhibition created by Patricia Cavazos, and it's all about the wonderful the theme is around Aztec mythology, and she's a sculptor and she works in textiles, and that's in our studio gallery. So we have art everywhere in Osceola County, and again, it's just a wonderful opportunity for the community. Well, for Osceola Arts, we connect creativity to the community. So we're so excited to have this wonderful flow of women and the arts in City Hall.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. And I also want to give great kudos to Judith, because she was there whenever I needed her, and never pressed, never, told me what to do. Was always a good listener and full of good suggestions. And so in the initial stepping stones, we have a lot to be appreciative of for her expertise in the Women's Caucus.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Suzanne.
And thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Suzanne. And thank you for having us on the show.
Absolutely. This won't be the last, I assure you. This was way too fun.
Yeah, we'll have to organize something else at Osceola Arts this time.
Oh,
Yes.
That sounds good. Well, we've got our black and white, coming up.
Yes. All
That's
right.
right.
Sounds
That's
like
a
a
good
plan.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who are watching, if you have any questions or comments or just thoughts that you'd like to share, comment below, whether it is that you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you're watching us on. Comment, let us know, like, subscribe, follow us, because we have information that we want to share with you. Positively Osceola wants to give you information that's positive, impactful, changing the world, and these women are doing it. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being a part of it. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.